Because this goes back to fucking college. You want to go there? This goes back to Humber College.
Okay, I have no clue what you're talking about.
When I told you I could take you down to O'Grady's.
Yeah, okay.
And I could have you mingle with the likes of Jeff Merrick. I could have you mingle with the likes of the greatest on-air personality in the history of wrestling audio, Dan the Mouth Lavransky. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I took you down there.
Yeah, and they weren't there when I. 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 And they weren't.
Listening to War Weekly International. 2 time zones, 3 cities, 3 gentlemen, myself, the Grime Minister Luke Force. Listen to us, as always, on WrestlingAudioRevolution.com, on the Spreaker Web Radio Network, on War Radio, in the live section of WrestlingAudioRevolution.com. Check us out through Facebook. Connect to us through Twitter, YouTube, you name it, we got it. And we are here with a very good friend, but more than that, Sean.
Yes.
First of all, Sean, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
This is the life, brothers. Are you fully recovered from the ROH show, Sean?
It took me 2 days, but yeah.
Yeah.
It took me 2 days to get my voice back, but I'm good to go now.
What time did you get picked up? Because you were still waiting when I left.
Probably only about 5 or 10 minutes after you left, so it wasn't too bad. It was like about 12:15 or so. Wasn't.
I don't want to disrespect anybody that lives around the Danforth and Maine area.
No.
Around the Ted Reeves Arena. But it's a little creepy over there.
It is. Like there's nothing around there.
Yeah, it can be a little bit worrisome to leave your buddy there when he's waiting for the wheel trans. But gotta get home. What can you do?
Gotta get home. Gotta make the last train. You know, but we made it home. We're safe.
Exactly. I worried about you, but not enough to sleep in a park somewhere.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, dude.
Or in some dive hotel or motel. Maybe I could go back to that hotel that I worked at very briefly. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What the hell was that place called? It was around Kensington Market.
Yes. I don't know what it was called. I remember working there.
And every night there'd be a woman that would come in smelling, maybe around like 4 a.m. or so, smelling of musk oils and trout, you could probably say. Musk oils and trout. And she would come in around 4 a.m. looking very hoochied up. And she had a very mean-looking gentleman with a scar on his face. We called him Scarface. Yeah, every night or every morning around 4 a.m. they would show up. And she would have a purse full of money. I don't want to make any official accusations on the air. You never know. The Grange Hotel. There we go. I'm going to bury them on the air. What a fucking dive that place was. For anyone that lived in the Toronto area.
Our special guest.
He's calling us internationally, so we won't waste any more of his time because he is paying for the bill here. I got to give it up to this guy because he's more than an old friend, Sean.
Yes.
This guy is a life coach. This guy is a spiritual leader. This guy is a mentor to both you and myself. And before we introduce him, why don't we just give you a quick clip of his last appearance, January 2014. This was the last time that Richard Weeks was on the air with us. Let's listen to that, and then when we come back, we'll introduce the man, Ichard, calling us live from Barbados. So we will be talking to him in just a second, but first, take a listen to this. 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 Take a listen to this.
That's how I know what's going on in wrestling today, is because of my mom. She watches it almost religiously. I recently changed cable providers.
Okay.
So we don't get USA anymore. So I would download it or rent it from a video store.
Rent
Because in
it?
Barbados you have bootleg video stores. So if you don't have cable, you can go to the store and buy a DVD or rent it. But nowadays it's usually buy. So you can buy any show you want. You can buy CSI, I don't know, American Idol, Raw. It's not legal, but it's accepted because Americans won't let you watch it any other way. Like the pay-per-views, that's how we would watch pay-per-views. We either go to a bar and watch it, or you rent it from one of these stores. You buy it from one of the stores. A really good store will have it the next day. Not so good stores 2 days later, and depends on how hot that show was. They can make it available the next day, but then when you go, all could have been gone. And it depends what other things are they have to produce too. Like what other shows people want. It's not just a wrestling shop.
That was Richard Weeks, Sean, and it's been 2.5 years in the making. It's sometimes hard to connect even our schedules, let alone Richard's international schedule. But without any further ado, gotta say what's up to the one, the only Mr. International of War, Richard Weeks. How you doing?
That's how I like it. With lots of foreplay. Make me wait for it. And then just let me come. Here I am, back again.
Drop the mic, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I don't know if we can say anything to top that. Wow.
Awesome.
That was awesome, and you're right. I made you wait far too long for it, but I'm glad that you don't mind a little bit of torture like that. So, what's been going on with you, brother?
Not much wrestling. Lots of work, some sleep, some beach, very little wrestling.
And
so it's going to be an interesting show.
Oh, isn't it? Isn't it? Because we can talk about Raw from this week, but bottom line is I don't remember what happened. Sean, you hope you got a good memory.
Before we get distracted by the exciting world of wrestling, I want to congratulate you for the first time having a baby on the way. So congratulations for that, Mr. Forth. And I expect Sean will be joining you soon.
No, Sean won't be joining in that party.
Oh, well, then you can be the godfather then. Or the uncle who spoils the child.
That works.
What do you think of the idea of a small version of Luke Force walking around this earth, Richard? Is that something that scares you?
An initial thought is very scary. It's very scary.
I just played a little clip there before you came on. Again, I had to make you wait for it. I had to keep you in the shadows there for a few minutes, but now we're bringing you out. Pyro, Richard Weeks returns. But on your last visit here, just about 2.5 years ago, you were explaining to me and Sean and the listeners a little bit about the Bajan experience when it comes to watching Monday Night Raw or watching a pay-per-view. And you did just recently change cable providers, so you no longer had the USA Network at this time. And you were talking about the bootleg DVD shops that you would go and pick up last night's Raw, American Idol, some of the other shows that I think you mentioned. I'm trying to remember what some of them were. CSI, you talked about CSI. And is that still the case in 2016, or have things changed in 2.5 years, and have they shut these things down? What's going on?
They've changed a little bit. So they're no longer shops, really and truly, because now the internet and Netflix and downloading and torrenting, most people do that. But there's still some people who won't have internet or who don't have the skills to do those things. So the shop is now in a bag. So you have DVD men. Basically, that's what you call them. Or everyone refers to them as. That's how we refer to most people in Barbados. You get what you do and then man. So you got the bread man, the ice cream man, etc. So now the DVD man.
And is it a black market type of thing? Does he walk the streets, like pulling you into an alleyway and opening his coat? How does this thing go?
Well, there's some that's situated, they'll be on a street corner.
Okay, they get
his bag.
They post up on a corner.
Yeah. And as they walk by, they just be shouting,
You want this, come here, man. I got this here selling. You want the WWE, you want these Scandal. I got Scandal 4 season 1 and 2.
What's
Things like
Scandal?
that. What's
You know
Scandal?
what Scandal is?
Okay, what's Scandal? I'm out of the loop, guys. I've been...
Scandal is the Kerry Washington political show.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I have seen the ads for it. I didn't know it was called Scandal.
Yeah, no, it's called Scandal.
This is a good show? Because she's definitely a good woman.
It's a popular show. Good is like subject to opinion.
Are you not a fan, Richard?
Meh, no, not a fan. I watch maybe season 1 or 2. Not a fan really.
Well, television's on fire right now. Television is whooping the movie's ass, in my opinion. And there's all kinds of series out there. Richard, what floats your boat right now in terms of television? Is there any series that you're caught up in? Is there something that you go to the DVD man and get your, I don't know, seasons?
Or download?
What is your most enjoyable activity for entertainment?
We dealing with TV.
Yeah, sorry, I
Because
did.
you switched it up. You switched it up. Like, seriously, how do you download? What do you get from the DVD man? Then what do you find entertaining?
Well, I see the connection, but it's a long rope.
Yeah, this question has A, B, and C, so there you go. Long-winded answer.
For the TV, I only do Netflix, really. Netflix, if it's not on Netflix, I don't bother. I can't be bothered with anything else.
And movies or television? Do you have a certain series that you're really an addict for, or what?
What are you watching right now?
Right now, I'm watching Bones, and I just mainly watch it to go to sleep. So if I go to bed and my brain is wired up,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have trouble. So I need to watch something that's not too dramatic, not too boring. I can just watch it, and after watching it, I'm ready for bed. So Bones can do that. I'm hoping to start Daredevil soon, season 2. I also like Gotham. What else? Hoping to see Orange is the New Black when it comes out.
I think that's gonna come.
But nothing is like a priority. Nothing's like, I have to watch this as soon as it comes out. I can't wait till it comes out. There's nothing like that.
I love that your promo that you did for Bones is that it's a good cure for insomnia.
Basically.
You can drink a cup of warm milk, or you can watch an episode of Bones. Have you ever made it through a whole episode?
Yeah, I get through all the episodes usually. Sometimes I fall asleep before, but I mean, it's not boring. It's not like watching like a certain wrestling company, but
You know what? It's funny you say that, because as you were telling me about, your way of falling asleep by watching Bones, I had to think about my technique, which is the WWE Network, of course. And
there.
you know what's funny is that people talk about the quote-unquote golden age of the Attitude Era. Besides the 1 or 2 or 3 big talking segments, especially once Shawn Michaels was injured and gone from that really big time. I mean, it kind of blew up right after Shawn left is when everything just went crazy for WWE in terms of business. And if you're watching those shows, and I don't know, maybe Shawn, you'll disagree, but my God, 98 Monday Night Raw, besides the big Austin segment where he sprays Vince with a beer truck, or whether it's some crazy DX thing dressing up like the Nation, that is a boring fucking show.
It was, because the wrestling was so bad.
Like, you had an X-Pac that was good in the ring and pretty exciting to watch, but then, you had like a Jarrett that's just kind of there. He's not bad, he's not great. But I mean, just a lot of really terrible, clunky shit. And even the stuff that we thought was so good at the time, like an Al Snow match or something like that. You watch that now, that shit does not hold up.
No, you're right.
So that's been my cure for insomnia. 1998 Monday Night Raw. And I watch it on a very low volume so that during the exciting talking parts, you're not getting too caught up in it.
So that's what they're showing in WWE Network, all Raw?
They have everything up there. They have every Raw from, when does the Raw start? From the beginning, Sean?
93 till...
Very first episode?
So this is on demand, or the show?
No,
Yeah.
that's all on demand stuff.
Explain the network to Richard, because clearly he's never been on before.
Well, okay.
Sell him on it.
I just sell the network.
Oh, don't set the bar too high. I mean, don't sell me. Just tell me about it.
Okay.
If you're gonna sell me, you're gonna fail. I'm not buying.
No, what?
$9.99.
Yo, see, you've heard of the $9.99. Here in Canada, we pay more.
How much you pay in Canada?
$11.99. Two extra
you're
bucks.
ripped off.
Yeah, of
Well,
course
no,
we do.
but we have the benefit of it's on a TV channel here too. Like we get two ways to see it here. Everywhere else, it's just the internet.
Okay, that's
Like the live stream is like their weird original shows that they like to put out, and their monthly what used to be pay-per-views you now get as part of the network.
yeah.
Like your monthly, like your WrestleMania and all that is all available on the network as part of your. And then the best part for probably Luke and I and most people that have been wrestling fans for a long time is they've taken basically almost everything they own over time and are starting to slowly put it up on demand on the network. Like there's stuff as early as the 1970s right now, and it goes right up until when Raw airs on TV, it's on the network a month later, like on demand. So there's kind of
Raw is a month old on WWE Network.
Yeah.
the most current, yeah.
Just because of
the
the
pay-per-view.
The pay-per-view is there automatically, isn't it?
Yeah, pay-per-view's there like 10 minutes after that.
That doesn't sound bad now, actually, because if you're okay with watching wrestling like a month old, like not being current,
Yeah,
and you get SmackDown the same way as Raw, yeah, that doesn't sound bad if you don't mind watching it late. If you don't have to be like in the moment and joining the water cooler conversation.
Well, yeah.
Well, the other thing too is the pay-per-view. I think that's really what makes it the best value is that you can watch the pay-per-views live, and it's all part of your subscription. It's all part of that all-inclusive $9.99 or $11.99. Whereas you used to pay $60 for a regular pay-per-view. Or how much was 60 more like WrestleMania?
60 was WrestleMania, but regular price was like got up to $40 before I stopped.
So any way you look at it, you're getting quite the value.
Let me cut you off there.
Please do.
You go ahead. You go on.
You're more entertaining than me.
It's true. So you see that argument about the pay-per-view being a value because now it's $9.99 instead of $60. I would say the pay-per-views before were probably closer to a $60 value. The pay-per-views now, I don't think they're a $9 value.
You know
I don't think they're worth that much.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that.
And then they put in all of these ads in it. There's no skits in it. It's dry. It's just matches and video takes, those recaps before the matches. The pay-per-view is dry now. Dry.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure on the company now, too, to, like, for instance, with a SummerSlam before the WWE Network, you would be a little bit worried about having some screw job ending at the end of the show within the main event with the world title on the line because it's like, well, people paid all this money and now they're going to be disappointed. We're going to get all these demands for refunds or whatever. But now it's like, well, come on, people. We give you this for $10 a month. Everything we're giving you.
Every month after pay-per-view, you can always go on social media and find people wanting to cancel and telling everybody else to cancel. So,
right. But you got to admit, Sean, that quality-wise, there is no pressure right now on them, and it is hurting the product, in my opinion, and I think that's a very valid point that you bring up. So really, we do credit Richard Weeks with the conception of Wrestling Audio Revolution, and it's because of this that we're very pleased to announce right now that Richard Weeks will be the first official person to be inducted into the Wrestling Audio Revolution Hall of Fame, because he was the man that put the idea, he planted the seed. So we're very pleased to announce Richard Weeks, the first ever inductee into the Wrestling Audio Revolution Hall of Fame. Stay tuned for more on that.
Wow, I'm surprised. I just thought we were going to be all talking. I didn't know I was going to receive some honor.
you mean you weren't briefed before the show?
I don't brief people. You know that, Sean.
Yeah, I know.
How long have we been doing this show? I don't brief people. I work people every day of my life, all day, every day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about, another thing that Richard played a big hand in, bringing you and I back together after a very well-publicized feud on...
That's right.
I never briefed you on any of that.
No, we didn't.
But I do thank Richard Weeks for mending the fences there.
Yes, that was very good. And we appreciate that.
Oh,
It sounds like I deserve this award. Very much so.
well, you've just played such a big part in the entire Wrestling Audio Revolution experience, and we all really appreciate the things that you've done. So, what is the most recent wrestling that you have watched? Just to, for a few seconds we can talk about wrestling anyway.
How about you guys tell me about the ROH event? Make me jealous.
Okay.
Because I've never been to ROH. It sounds interesting.
So I'm going to say this. I don't know if May is usually a bad month for you, but one of these years, come visit Canada in May, because this will be an experience that you will never forget. Now, whether you're a Ring of Honor fan, whether you've been able to see much of the product, when they bring in those New Japan guys, especially for the big May tour, it's something that is just unlike any wrestling experience I've ever had myself. One of the funniest situations that took place this year, though, first of all, it's an extremely intimate venue, right, Sean?
Small venue. This is tight seating.
Yeah, small venue. They usually record 4 episodes of television. Their television is an hour long, so they record 4 hours of television and then roll it out over the weeks. And they make the building look like great on TV.
Little 6 and 7-year-old kids play their hockey on Saturday mornings at 5 o'clock type stuff.
So it's your crappy little tiny sports complex. And then they have these wrestling shows that are just insane. And we were a third row on the floor, but the seats are just like, they're not like bolted into the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got there and the seats were pretty crowded, and we got Sean down, and he was somewhat a little bit halfway in the aisle, because again, everyone had crammed their chairs so close together. So, there was a moment, you know who Haku is?
Yeah.
The legendary Haku, otherwise known as Mang and King Tonga.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of, talked about in the wrestling world as the most scary wrestler, the guy that you would least want to mess with. He's pretty much known as the toughest guy in wrestling, and always has been. And he has these 2 sons named Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and they're in New Japan right now, and they are the tag team champions in New Japan. And they came over for this tour. And there was a moment where, very unexpectedly, they jumped the rail and began running through the crowd.
After they did a run-in.
Unfortunately, like I said, the chairs were so crammed together, and Sean had to be a little bit in the middle of the aisle there, that they came running at us like a herd of elephants, and there was nothing I could do to help my friend. I just had to run.
And luckily, I was able to get out of the way just enough so that they didn't have to come to a dead stop. They just slowed down and kept running past us. Thank God.
And these are 2 humongous, muscle-bound, face-painted Tongans. But that was the most hilarious thing that happened. Something you may appreciate. Before the event, I went to this tiny little roti shop across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all wrestlers and wrestling fans in this roti shop when I went in. And this was a good 4 or 5 hours before the event started. John?
Sounds like Sean's making a snap. Sean's like, this monologue deserves a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Very authentic. Just a crazy list of talent that was there. There you are. You back?
What? I forgot my juice.
He's there. I can hear him. But hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to get off headset for a minute.
You had to what?
I had to get off headset for a minute.
Oh, okay. No problem.
I prefer the peanut butter jelly sandwich.
No, I had to get off headset for a minute.
Okay, all right.
Puppy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll definitely come for one of those ROH events then. Sounds good and interesting.
Now, do you get to see ROH?
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't see those. The DVD man doesn't necessarily push the ROH very hard.
Definitely not. I would have to go on YouTube.
It's a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
So maybe one of these years, man, you got to visit during May, the month of May. It's always in May. Is that a bad month for you?
Well, that's a good month, actually.
Really?
Well, it was good until you mentioned that it was cold, Sean. So
Just today. Just today.
to bed, no. I like jacket-free weather now. I'm spoiled. I don't know if I can go back to the winters.
Yeah, you suffered through enough of those, man.
Yeah.
The only flakes I want is cornflakes and frosted flakes.
You're not a brand guy?
No fiber.
No. Who needs fiber? So has wrestling in 2.5 years, has it gotten any hotter in Barbados?
Yeah, it's colder, for sure.
The Roman Reigns experience has not been particularly paying off to the Bajan audience.
I was hoping to get through without talking about herbal essence.
That's the best nickname in history, and from this day...
we gotta steal that.
Yeah, from this day forward, with your permission, Richard, I think Roman Reigns needs to be simply referred to as Herbal Essence.
I approve.
You approve of that? You'll license that one out to us, will you?
Yeah.
Hey,
Free of royalties.
Wow. I don't know if we're ever...
Doesn't he belong in a shampoo commercial? Come on.
He absolutely does, but I think even the shampoo watching audience would hate him.
I only see him coming up from underneath a waterfall. And then water running down his hair and studs all in his hair.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's where I see him.
Now, would he be wearing the riot gear in the Herbal Essence commercial? Would he be going through the waterfall with his vest on?
Boots and everything.
That's got to be the weirdest thing about him, is that he's the chosen guy. He's been the chosen guy since the minute he's shown up on the main roster anyway, and yet they have him in that vest still. And
it's still the Shield, man.
You see his arms and you see his whatever part of his body is poking out of the vest, and he looks like he's in great shape. Why are you covering up his body with this riot gear, and how does that play into him and his character? I truly do not understand that at all. There's such a disconnect there for me.
Well, to me, I see it as a fair change. The Shield was the hottest thing in WWE for a long time. So if you want to push this guy, keep him associated with the Shield as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the music, he's got the gear.
Still comes down. Well, I'm not sure if it still comes down to the crowd, but...
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Have you seen any of the feud, anything involving the feud with him and AJ Styles on TV?
No. I generally don't watch things with him in it. You have to earn me for me to watch the wrestling. I'm not just going to watch it and hope. You have to sell me on it first, and then I'll watch it.
So that is the way that you go about watching wrestling in 2016. If there's something that you hear a lot of buzz about that seems like something either you may enjoy or something that's so bad you got to see it, that's the only way you're going to get you to download or go to the DVD, man.
YouTube or whatever.
Yeah. So Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles, I was like, okay, that sounds good. I'll watch for that.
Okay.
I watched. I think last year WrestleMania I didn't watch it because Herbal Essence was in the main event. So that's how I operate. I don't care if it's WrestleMania or not.
Well, Brock Lesnar...
Once you put Herbal Essence in it, it's going to be 0. 5 by 0 equals 0. Brock Lesnar by Herbal Essence equals Herbal Essence. Sorry. That's how I do it. I can't trust WWE to deliver.
Okay. Richard, you would be considered the hardcore fan that is checked out. And now you're explaining to us why. And WWE needs to listen to people like you. Because we spend weeks and weeks on our show talking about why can't Roman Reigns get over. People just don't look at him as the guy, as they like to market him.
I can hear the disdain in Richard's voice as he's describing this Herbal Essence character. And I just want to know what it is, Richard, because as Sean says, you represent a whole demographic of people that feel the exact same way and have pretty much checked out on wrestling completely. Probably will just go in and if they hear about something that they may be interested in, maybe then they'll go and check it out, but otherwise they're just going to completely ignore it. What is it about Herbal Essence that you dislike or that you're not sold on?
Well, my nickname for him before Herbal Essence was High Jump. Because all he ever did was jump. The jump and punch, the jump on the apron and kick your head, and jump forward and tackle you.
Yeah, and that's accurate too.
So too much jumping is what you're saying.
That's all he does. He's like the Miz, but prettier and muscular with no mic skills.
So you're not sold on his promos?
No. I remember a promo of him and Triple H trying to sell their match.
I had never noticed he did so much jumping, though. I will be honest, I do find that annoying. I used to get really annoyed by AJ, not AJ Styles, but AJ Lee, CM Punk's now wife. And I always used to think with her, pretty girl, and she seems to be all right in the ring, competent in the ring. But my God, she does a lot of jumping, and I just find it so irritating.
For me, it's not just jumping; it's only jumping.
Only jumping. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. His whole arsenal is jump based.
It is. If you really think about it.
That's a jump based offense.
Jeez. Well, I want to ask Richard about whether he's seen the other thing on WWE that we tend to talk about a lot is the New Day. Have you seen any of the New Day?
Yeah, I love the New Day. I don't really watch too much of the New Day nowadays because there isn't much going on with them. They're entertaining, but that's about it. So I'll watch their promos. Like if it's on and I happen to be around while it's on, and I hear, "Don't be sour," I'll jump in front of the TV and watch it. But usually once they start the match, I'll leave because I know it's just going through the motions. It's not going anywhere. It means nothing. So I've seen them wrestle enough, and it's usually wrestling the same people. So I just listen to hear what they have to say, see their new box of cereal, see their new shirts, see their new gimmick, the unicorn, whatever. And then that's it. I know it's not going to get any better from there. So I tap out.
Sounds a lot like the 1998 Raws, Sean.
It does.
As soon as the wrestling starts, that's when we fall asleep.
There's two other points where I've tapped out mainly. When the former champion got injured. What's his name again?
Seth Rollins.
Right, Seth Rollins. And when they started to bury the Russian guy that
Rusev.
out there. Right, Rusev.
Rusev, yeah.
Yeah. I really like I like his wrestling. I'm impressed by it. And I like his character with the lady. What's her name again? Can't remember. But you guys know what I mean. You can tell me. Yeah.
Oh, I know her very well, Richard.
Then he just started to get buried and jumbled up, stirred up in a pot with those other guys. And I'm like,
League of Nations.
Oh, that was one of the biggest failures, colossal failures in quite some time. And I can't help but laugh at the way that faction, after being pushed so heavy, has just dropped like a stone. It's been quite amazing. And now we got Wade Barrett, who's now officially gone from the company. A lot of names released, Sean, since the last time we did any program. I think it was funny. We did our recording of the ROH thing, but we weren't really covering any WWE stuff. Any of those releases shock you?
I don't know about shock. I'm just disappointed by Damien Sandow, but that's being released. All the other ones kind of make some sense.
Damien's a weird one just because he seemed to be able to take anything they gave him, no matter how ridiculous or how much of a burial it could possibly be. He would take the chicken shit and make chicken salad, you know what I mean? So he was a guy that you were just kind of like, why wouldn't you want him on your roster when you pretty much gave him nothing, and the little things you did give him, he was able to get over like crazy?
Yeah, I don't really understand that. But I mean, the last thing he majorly got over that worked was the Miz stunt double, and Miz now got a upgrade as a, valet partner, if you will, on television.
I want to jump in there on something Luke said. You said they've given him this stuff and everything they give him kind of works, or he makes it good. To me, to become a wrestler, a star, especially in WWE, but in wrestling, you have to own it. You can't just hope for them to give it to you. Like take the New Day, for example. They
exactly.
That. You have to own it and take control of it. If you don't do that, you're not going to become a star. It should be obvious to know by now that WWE cannot make stars. A star has to make himself in the WWE. That's how it works. So my problem now with NXT is it is like a cocoon to bury people in WWE. Because as soon as you go from NXT to WWE or Raw, whatever they call it, you're buried. You're dead.
I'm not going to completely agree with that. There's a few.
You're going to come and bring me the exceptions now to the rule, right?
There's two very current exceptions.
And how many people got buried? Give me the ratio.
Oh, many. I'm not saying they haven't, but I'm just saying there are exceptions.
It really does feel like at least the mentality when they get there, except for maybe a Kevin Owens. But for the most part, the mentality seems to be when you come up to the main roster, Vince is going to break you down to absolutely nothing. And then if you're able to, like Richard says, crawl your way back up, then maybe you'll be able to become a star. But it's like they're not doing things to try to help these guys carry that over from NXT to the main roster. It's like they want to break you down to nothing and take away everything that makes you special, and then see if you can build yourself up in spite of their push.
Well, yeah, the ultimate example of that is what they've done with the women right now, because they put so much behind them at the start, and now and keep bringing up more girls from NXT.
The thing is, Raw is their premium product, right? So they're scared to put anything that's not tip-top. You should be so big on NXT that they have to bring you to Raw. Not, oh, you've been here for like 6 months, time to move on. No, oh, you got the NXT belt, move on. No, it's not kindergarten. And it's the Sharks.
They should be like, okay, well, this has gotten so big on NXT. Think of how big it could be on Raw with even just half of a push. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would agree with that. I mean, NXT's got its positives and it's got its negatives. One of the biggest negatives I see right now is that as great as it is for the product, they're really getting into bringing in all of these established names, a Nakamura, an Austin Aries, and all that's great and everything. But it seems like NXT is now becoming more and more populated with those guys, those established guys in their mid-30s, and less focused on, especially when you hear about all the guys they're trying to recruit, and less on actually being a developmental territory where they're taking young guys and making them something and creating the stars of the future, basically, is what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of the people they're hiring right now to populate NXT are in their mid-30s. And that's old for a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
That's short-sighted, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't see anything coming in through NXT that's like you're hearing about some 18, 19-year-old kid coming in who's going to be the future for 10 or 15 years.
Right, and then, I mean, as much as people would sort of, at first, if I were to say OVW did a lot better job than NXT, people would be outraged, right?
No, but that's true.
But, I mean, OVW had Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton. Look at that success rate. And then NXT is bringing in all these awesome talent, like great guys in their prime, but they're already in their mid-30s, and they're, like you say, they're not going to be the future. Who is going to be the future of this company? And, Rich, we talked about it last time you were here, about the star-making machine being broken, and it has been for quite some time. And I was thinking about this just over the last week. When Savage and Hogan left WWF, in the early 90s. Savage left a little bit after Hogan, but, you know, they both left in that early 90s, 93, 94 time. And Vince at the time didn't even want to use Savage in the ring because he thought he was old. He was past his prime. Hogan, Vince was going to keep him around, but, I mean, he'd really started phasing out Hogan, too. He realized Hogan was too old, and he wanted young blood, and he didn't think that those guys could really draw in the main events anymore because they were too old. And then what happened? Jerry Jarrett actually was working with Vince at the time, Jeff's dad. And Jerry Jarrett said, you know, you're crazy to let these guys go right now because all they need with all of that television time you gave them for all of those years and you made them such big stars, all they need is a new place to go, and that place is going to catch fire. He warned Vince about that. And Vince thought, no, that's impossible. They're too old. And, of course, we know what happened. They went to WCW. WCW became a monster. WCW took over, and they beat them in the ratings for a long, long time, and WWF was on the ropes big time, and, you know, there was talk and there was worry that they could be going out of business at one time because things got so bad, and I can only think that Vince really got scared by that, and that's why we've seen what we've seen now with him constantly going back to the past when it comes time for WrestleMania. What do you guys think of that statement?
It makes a lot of sense. And that's, I think, why WB is so guard out making stars that big now. That's why we may never see it. WB wants to market themselves as, we are the show. Nobody is bigger than the company. I think that's a product of what you were talking about that happened in the early 90s.
Well, look at John Cena. He's been on top for 10 years now. Hogan wasn't on top for 10 years. Savage wasn't on top for 10 years in WWF. and it just seems like he really is worried about moving forward and not. And I mean, I don't know if it's conscious or if it's his subconscious, but he's constantly, when it comes time for the biggest show of the year, going back to the stars of the past.
I agree, and I think it's going to bite them at some point because eventually
it certainly is.
Those stars really are going to get too old, and it really isn't going to mean anything.
No, I don't think it's going to bite them. They're becoming very good at selling the watered down product. It's like McDonald's is huge. They don't sell the best burger or a great experience, but they sell burgers like crazy.
You think it's all in their minds? This whole paranoia? Because every WrestleMania we have the same thing. And the guys that they do put in there, maybe, okay, a Roman Reigns is getting a rub at WrestleMania or getting to be the star at WrestleMania. But besides that, they bring in these old guys. They bring in the Austins, the Foleys, the Michaels. They bring in The Rock. They bring back The Rock. And they make their current stars look like geeks. They don't get the rub out of these guys. They just have them come back, treat the New Day like a bunch of punks. Austin, dancing with them and then stunnering them. I mean, they don't do anything to really tell the audience these current people are the real stars. This is just a cameo from a past star. They have the past stars come in and punk out the new guys.
I don't disagree with you. I think it will hurt the product, but it won't hurt the business. And they always say, do what's good for business.
Right.
So the product will be cheaper and worse. So like they'll be selling a t-shirt that won't be as good as before. You'll wear it 2 times and it'll rip. But they'll be selling 1,000 t-shirts now instead of 10.
So
and that's what they're doing.
In your opinion, Rich, do you think that they could just, next year, just cut their losses with all of the legends, not have any of them show up on WrestleMania, and it would still draw the exact same as it does without them? Is it all in their head? That's really the question I'm asking you guys. This whole idea of going back to the past, it's WrestleMania, we got to make it the biggest show of the year. That means Rock, that means Austin, that means these guys. Do you think it's all in their head at this point?
What is in their head? That they need the old superstars?
Yeah, do you think business would be the exact same without them?
I don't think they're seeing it from the same perspective that you are. I think they're seeing it as how can we make sure we can get the biggest bang for our buck, and we'll do anything. We'll get Snooki, we'll get Snoop Dogg, whatever. They don't care. They're just selling tickets. Can't you see that by now? They don't care about the product. They're just selling tickets. That's why I don't tune in.
Well, here's
they're
the
selling
thing.
tickets and advertising.
WrestleMania is almost like a standalone now, though. WrestleMania is a bad example. Because WrestleMania, you bring those legends back to bring in that fan that watches once a year and doesn't care. And that's how you get them to watch for one night. Like I said during our WrestleMania post-show, WrestleMania is the end of the year, not the beginning.
Well, this year, and it certainly felt that way, too. So, you guys bring up very good points, and I can't disagree with them. I just can't help but think, when do we really, truly make the next crop of John Cena's, of Randy Orton's even? Because I don't see anybody that's given that much momentum to be able to get to that level. Roman Reigns, they've certainly been trying, but I mean, it's been an uphill battle for Mr. Herbal Essence.
Sorry, I can't hear that, but I will make this point. If you look at WWE history and you look at when did they have to make Bret Hart when Hogan left? When did they have to make Austin when Bret Hart was gone? When did they have to make Cena when there was no more Austin and no more Rock? You don't have to make the next guy until the last guy's gone. Cena's still there. Whether we like it or not, Cena, like you've always said, Cena's still going to be the guy for as long as he can be the guy. And they're not going to make another guy until they absolutely have to.
Cena's going to be the guy till he dies.
Well, you just made the point how they bring back the old superstars all the time. Like, if John Cena's in a wheelchair, he'll be at WrestleMania. Come on.
In the main event?
Yes, referee, anything. He'll be in every event. Yes, referee for every match.
Yeah, he'll be cutting his promos from a hospital bed, Takes off the oxygen mask. We may reach a real-life Billionaire Ted situation, I think.
Jeez.
But, it's you're probably right, honestly. The difference is, though, and that's probably what they think, and that's probably the way they look at it, is we didn't have to make Brett until Hogan was gone. We didn't have to make Austin until who left then? I mean,
Shawn was gone.
Right, basically. Shawn was unreliable and whatever. Austin was just a freak thing, too. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But, the problem is that Bret Hart was protected a lot better in that early 90s time, and he had been leading up to it. than a lot of the guys are now that are in that sort of mid-card range. Shawn Michaels had been protected a lot better than the guys now in the mid-card range because everything's so 50-50. Whereas back then, even the mid-card guys are being built up to be in that spot so that one day they could take over if necessary. So it just seems a bit of a different climate in the world of wrestling, but we're going to have to wait and see, and you're probably right. It's going to take these guys no longer physically, The Undertaker physically not being able to walk into a ring. It's going to take Triple H blowing out every muscle in his body. It's going to take John Cena, as I say, cutting a promo from his hospital bed and then having them, have to bring him back to life midway through the promo. Give him the adrenaline shot. But Richard, it was very good to have you back.
Before you cut me off, I want to ask Sean one question.
Feel free.
Sean, quiz question. I have a nickname for a match. I want you to guess which match it is. The name is Wrestling Miss Daisy.
Oh my god, was this a recent match or a type of match?
It happens every year without fail.
Happens every year. It's not like the Royal Rumble, is it?
It had a streak.
It had a streak? Oh, God. The Undertaker's match.
Correct.
There we go.
And why is it called Wrestling Mixed Daisy again?
Because he's old, retired, he shouldn't be wrestling anymore. You wrestle with him, he gets a concussion, all of these things.
We should have you on with Luke's brother.
Yeah, you get along well with
Shotgun.
You get along real well with Shotgun Shan when you're expressing opinions like that, no question. Richard?
And the thing now with the match that we had at this WrestleMania, I couldn't tell who was Miss Daisy.
Yeah, that's true.
Richard, I got to ask you a question just before we go.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, there's lots to talk about Trump. There's a lot of...
It's on the radar.
Trump.
It's on the radar.
For sure. It's in the daily conversations. I was at the wedding yesterday and somebody accidentally called one of the parents coming up Trump because he had his last name beginning with T. So it's very topical. It's very topical.
And how did people react when that slip happened?
Most people, well, they laughed at it, but most people consider him to be a joke and a buffoon, and they can't believe that people are going to vote for him. That's the general consensus. That's how most people think about it here.
Do you have friends or family in the United States that are begging to move there if Trump wins?
I don't think it's going to make a difference. People want to go to the States. People always want to go to the States.
Well, no,
it's not if Trump wins or not. They want to go to the States if they can.
So you don't have people from the States saying they want to move to Barbados if Trump wins?
That's a lot of talk.
No?
They move here and then 3 months they move back.
Is there a general sort of negative undertone for the most part when you hear people talking about the United States?
Mm-mm. It's just Trump and the elections and how he's being portrayed and what they think of him and the things he says. But generally people don't have a negative connotation about the States.
It's funny because they do
not
here.
In the Caribbean. But you guys are neighbors. You guys are adversaries to some extent.
It's Springfield and Shelbyville, right?
I don't know what that means.
Remember The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Shelbyville was the town next to Springfield. Springfield is where the Simpsons lived.
Mm-hmm. And they're always at war?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Blind hatred for each other.
But people in the Caribbean generally have an admiration for the North American lifestyle.
You have warm weather and beaches and chilled out. Why would you want our life where we have winter?
Because you have lots of stuff. You have lots of malls and lots of things to buy. Things are cheap. And then the way TV makes it seems like roses and gold streets and everything is easy. So if only thing you experience is the TV life, you assume that it's wonderful always.
Okay, but you've been here. You remember what winter was like.
Yeah. That's why I'm not jumping at it. But and my life is pretty good here. Like, I'm not the average person in Barbados or the average person in Jamaica.
How many Rihannas do you see in one day?
Oh, you see good-looking girls all the time. Like, there's good-looking girls everywhere. There's no shortage of good-looking girls. There's shortage of good-looking girls in Canada? Come on, there can't be.
Anyway, Richard, I was a little bit worried about this call going through because, like I say, there's this big yellow exclamation point over your face here on Skype. Like I say, I guess that's just the audio form of pyro when you arrive. It's just a little something extra, a little mustard.
That's what the computer said today. He's here.
Well, damn, man, we got to get you down here next May for the Ring of Honor New Japan War of the Worlds tapings. Hopefully, they will do the TV tapings in Toronto again. I don't see why they wouldn't, because they've been very successful. Sean, I think the number I was hearing was 17 plus were crammed into the Ted Reeves Arena.
And after being there, I say, how?
And we'll catch up with Richard again, hopefully very soon, but just wanted to again congratulate you on being the very first ever official inductee into the Wrestling Audio Revolution Hall of Fame. Your many contributions will no longer go unnoticed, Richard. So it's been so good catching up with you. Is that a plane I hear? Because I haven't heard one during this whole call.
Yeah, we made it the whole thing with no plane.
Well, that was a bus.
That was just a bus.
Yeah.
Guess people aren't flying today.
Well, they know that I was going to be on the radio show, so they stop all incoming planes.
Sean, anything you want to say before we get out of here with Rich?
Oh, this has been so much fun. I hope we get to do it a little more often.
Remember to use your herbal essence every night.
That's right.
My hair's getting pretty long, too, so, I think that'll be really good.
Sounds good.
All right, well, Richard, again, it's been awesome catching up with you.
I'm surprised I was able to talk about wrestling for an hour, seeing that I haven't watched any in a long time. I'll see if we can make it up next year. I'm supposed to be coming to Canada in August, so if I come up, I'll give you guys a shout. Maybe we can
please do. August, it may be a busy time for me, as you know. Got a little person coming in mid-July, but who knows? Maybe I could sneak off for an afternoon and get to catch up with my old buddy Ichard. That would be pretty fun. Maybe we got to try and get Justin on the air one of these times, too. I might have him do a run-in the next time you make an appearance here.
Have you heard him?
No. I know that he was living where? In Korea?
South Korea, I think.
South Korea?
But I haven't heard him in a few years, so...
No,
different.
Neither have I. But it would be pretty cool to have a Canadian call, a Bajan call, and a South Korea call all on the air here on War Weekly the next time we go international. So from myself, from the Commissioner Sean Cunningham, and from the one and only Richard Weeks, just want to say peace, love. Check us out on the WrestlingAudioRevolution.com page. Check us out on Spreaker Web Radio. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Check us out on War Radio. And Sean Cunningham, why don't you tell him the rest?
Wrestling Audio Revolution.